not natural. Some people who use drugs have a problem with this because they use Lasix, they use steroids, which some of them are water-based, some are oil-based. Then they get overspills and they try to carve up and try to use different drugs. They use cocaine and other drugs to cut. So I couldn't speak upon that process. And if you're doing that process, then you're going to need somebody like Chad Nichols or a chemist who really knows what they're doing. Then you got to know the quality of the drug. You got to know who you're getting from. It got to be exactly what they say they have in it. So there's so many different steps and so many different principles that you got to go through with that. Good luck with that. I can't speak upon that because I don't do that. I'm pretty sure you can find on the internet or find other places people who can speak upon those processes and things to do that. But like I said, I don't do that. So on a natural standpoint, I could tell in the morning time, and most times by the way that I eat, because I'm always experimenting on myself, what I take in at night, the types of foods that I eat at night, if I carb up. When I wake up in the morning, I could tell by my vascularity. I could tell by the pop in my muscles if I'm flat. I could tell if my glycogen storage in my muscles are up to par, which means that I have a good capacity for doing work. I'm full. I have a good energy source to draw from. My volumes of my muscles are full. They're hydrated. A lot of things can be told. I can tell because I stay at such a lean percent body fat all the time that I'm an athlete all the way through. I don't believe in yo-yoing anymore. I stopped doing that stuff 10 years ago. I believe in true health. And so I can tell if my glycogen storages are low in my muscles, which also gives me an indication of what my liver is doing. And I can also tell by my liver by what it is that I ate the night before, or that I ate the day before, whatever, because there's certain things that got to go through the liver to be converted. And if you don't eat anything that actually has to go through the liver to be converted, then you really don't have to worry too much about liver glycogen storage being full or not. And knowing those things, just like getting on stage, I can time up my body to what it is. Like on stage, you have to time up your body to look your best on stage. If you've ever seen a bodybuilding show, you'll hear announcers talking about, oh, he looks flat, or he's hard, or he looks vascular, or he's washing out, or he has an overspill, or he's smooth, or all those talks is about glycogen storage, fullness, carb vascularity, the loading of the carbs inside the muscle, the type of pop, the water retention that's going inside the muscle that's spilling over because they overcarb, the smoothing out, the look of the skin, the look of the subcutaneous water underneath the skin. So once you have an ideal, and I'm doing this for many years and turning pro and just being lean all the time and being able to see this for mostly all my life, I just have a real good perspective of what's going on inside the human body because I've been a walking anatomy chart for majority of my life, basically all my life, because I've always been at a low percent body fat. So I could see what was going on. So I was blessed to be able to be my own experiment project, look at the things that I've done, go back through my history at the way that I've competed and the things that I've done and what levels that I do things on, and look at the nutrition and the things that I was doing at that particular time, workout styles, training regimens and stuff like that, and move forward and give that to my athletes. Like I was telling a young athlete just the other day, I ran a 4.6 when I was in high school before, when I was probably like a freshman or something like that. I ran a 4. It took me from whatever time, probably from a 5 something, to all the work that I put in over the years and everything that I did naturally. Now, if you're doing drugs, we're talking about something totally different. Using steroids, we're talking about something totally different. We're talking about something that will enhance you, but you won't be able to sustain because your body will make it toxic after a period of time and you will have a drastic fall off. So you will show the signs of great athleticism or the strength or the growth or the recovery, but it will not be able to be sustained for a period of time. That's proven throughout history, and people who do that and fall off the bodybuilding map, you see them after they get off juice, they look terrible. They don't even look like the same person. But from a natural standpoint, is I tell them, yeah, and I remember in detail the steps and the things that I've done to get my time down to 4:2, to where I had at that time, the third fastest time in the country amongst all collegiate athletes in every division, the highest vertical jump in the country amongst all collegiate athletes in every division, the fastest pro agility in the country amongst all collegiate athletes in every division. I was a Gatorade Strength and Conditioning All-American my junior year, All-American, the best of the best in any division. So yeah, I remember those paths. I remember the things that I did. So when I speak to my athletes, I train my athletes, I take them down the same path and journey that I took myself down, but also just using, like, if I had the knowledge that I have now back then, I would have ran a 3.0. I would have ran a 4.1. I would have jumped 50 something inches. I would have been doing crazy things, but I didn't. I did have trainers back then. I worked with Boyd Epley, my coach at UNO. They worked with the Chicago Bears. They worked with the best elite trainers around the country. They traveled. I went down and worked out with Nebraska, worked out with my guys. So I was getting the best training of the world at that particular time in my life, because I was one of the greatest athletes in my respective sport and just walking the planet. So that's why I've had to build these relationships and understand the journey and the process of these tricky components, from bodybuilding to football to sports specific. I'm very blessed. Iowa has blessed me to be able to take this journey and to gather this knowledge and to fill me with this knowledge, and also have it be my profession and my passion when I speak about these things. So I'm not speaking as a layman. I'm speaking as a person who walked these journeys, from the aches, the muscle tears, the pains, the heals, the running, the sacrifice, the days in and the days out, the film studies, the back pedal, the broke foot, the broke hand, the torn ligaments, the surgeries. So I'm speaking from a warrior who actually has never gotten out of the sport or out of the craft of being a warrior. So I still compete at a high level of everything that I do here at 44. So not to knock what other people do, but just to give you an understanding. So when people ask me about, oh, what about my stomach and getting flat? You have to understand, to be at your elite best is a timing thing that on the top of the level of bodybuilding, it comes down to a couple minutes. You know what I'm saying? It comes down to 10 minutes. It comes down to the difference between the day show and the night show. So there's a whole bunch of different levels to this thing before you can even come close to being at your best. And to be honest, Phil Heath, who's winning the Mr. Olympia and been winning the Mr. Olympia, he hasn't been at his best since probably like 5 years ago, but he still wins because he's genetically more gifted than everybody else. So other guys at their best can't stand a chance, or really don't stand a chance, if he just come in halfway decent and just do what he do, because he is genetically blessed. His muscle pops, he has round muscle bellies, he has big sweeps, he has things, details, his body look 3D. Like Flex Wheeler used to, like Ronnie Coleman when he was big. Everybody have their own sculpture and have their own ideal that they bring in their best packages. Do Phil Heath have weaknesses? Of course. His midsection and other things, and some of his poses aren't the best, and his chest look a little bit smaller, but do he have strength? Yeah, his strengths are the best in the world. His back, his side chest, and stuff like that, that if he come in and halfway decent, whatever, there's no one on the planet right now that can stand next to that. I mean, that's just keeping it real. And that's the level that I ascended to in developing my physique. And yeah, I know there's people that's bigger than me and people who do a lot of stuff, but when they stand next to me on stage, because of my small waist, my muscle pops, the roundness of my muscles, the way that I hold and everything else like that, it's a no-show. You know what I'm saying? I make them look out of shape, I make them look fat, I make them look a lot of different things. So it is a illusion about looking your best and being your best all the time. But if you have the genetic gifts and you know how to do the science behind it, you can put together for competition and just in general a pretty unique package that is second to none. I hope this helped. I hope this gives